So what can we expect out of the real estate market in 2022? Do I buy now or should I wait for prices to come down? As a homeowner, do I sell now or try to wait for the market to peak? I'll have some recommendations for you later in the video, but first, here's some background of what happened in 2021, the current state of the market, and how I expect things to go this year. This is Scott Henniger with eXp Realty and the Home Team. Kim and I are predicting that we will continue to see increases in home prices for the real estate market in 2022. I believe that this year will be similar to what we experienced in 2021, but appreciation will probably happen at a more realistic pace. Now, there are three main factors that I believe support this: the lack of inventory, low interest rates, and high buyer demand. Interest rates will remain low. However, we will see interest rates creep up this year, mostly due to the impact of inflation. Relative to historical rates, they will still be low and won't have a huge impact on the real estate market yet. More on that to come. The lack of inventory, high demand from buyers, and low interest rates are a sure sign that home prices will continue going up in 2022. So firstly, let's look at inventory of available homes. Just how did we run out of homes for sale? This didn't just happen overnight. According to a recent report from the National Association of Realtors, growth in housing inventory slowed over the past decade in the aftermath of the 2008 housing crisis, creating an underbuilding gap of between 5.5 to 6.8 million housing units in the U.S. since 2001. Rents and housing prices continue to increase at double-digit rates due to the low supply and high demand. And as long as demand exceeds supply, this most basic economic principle tells us that price appreciation has to continue. So what will happen to buyer demand in 2022? Right now, as of the latest data of November 21, we're at a 4.2% unemployment rate, which closely matches the unemployment rate back in March before the pandemic started. Job creation has mostly continued to increase month over month since the pandemic hit, but we're still not back to normal. In fact, we're about 4 million jobs short. The total non-farm payroll, which is the total number of U.S. workers in the economy that excludes proprietors, mostly has continued to rise since the pandemic hit. This graph shows the number of payroll jobs in the U.S. rising, but not quite back to where we were prior to pandemic. Yet, we see a surge of home sales since the pandemic started, and more homes sold in 2021 than in any of the past 15 years. Median home prices have soared to all-time highs at over $400,000 nationally. Now, thankfully, our region doesn't have a median sales price of $400,000, but we've seen quite high appreciation rates. For example, Kingsport median sales prices were up during 2021 by nearly 24%. Johnson City was up just under 24%, and Bristol saw a nearly 26% increase in median sales prices between December 2020 and December 2021. NAR, the National Association of Realtors, asked 23 real estate economists and experts about their forecast on inflation. And here's a list of the experts and economists that they surveyed. The average was 4%, which by historical standards is high. An inflation rate of 2% is often considered ideal. Even though their prediction of 4% inflation is double the ideal rate, it is not as bad as the anticipated 6.8%. What do the experts say about home price appreciation? Well, the average consensus is that home prices will rise 5.7%. I remember last year they predicted home prices would increase 6.8%, but the actual number was 20.3% nationally. So it's possible that we might see higher numbers than they anticipate. The median panelists agreed that the Federal Reserve would raise interest rate 2 times during 2022. That's the average consensus. However, recent guidance from the Fed chair seems to indicate that interest rates will be increased 3 times in 2022. It's important to understand that from an affordability standpoint, a consumer buying a home today versus a couple of years ago could have a lower payment even though prices have gone up, since interest rates fell. However, this is changing. For example, in 2019, the average rate on a 30-year note was 3.94%, but in 2021 was 2.94%, a 1% decrease. To put the importance of interest rates in perspective, an increase in 1% on a 30-year mortgage could increase a buyer's payment on a $240,000 house from $1,500 to $1,639. Now that's $139 per month increase, and it might not seem like all that much at first glance. However, over the life of the loan, you would have paid $50,400 more for the same home, just due to the interest rate jump. Many buyers aren't all that concerned about another $100, $150 on their monthly payment. However, when the rate affects how much house they can afford, that's another thing altogether. The interest rate's effect on buying power may very well be one of the factors that has the potential to cause depreciation the fastest. If interest rates jump just 1%, a buyer qualifying for a $240,000 home now can only purchase a home worth $221,600, and that is an $18,400 decrease. Pretty significant. In my opinion, this is what will eventually turn the real estate market around. The increase in interest rates over time is going to reduce the buyer's ability to afford as much home, dropping demand for higher priced homes, which will in turn lead to price decreases. As an example, someone who could qualify for a $300,000 home might now be looking at $275,000 houses, reducing demand and hence increasing supply of homes in higher price brackets. However, due to the ridiculously low inventory of available homes, achieving a more balanced market isn't happening anytime soon, certainly not in 2022. Higher interest rates will definitely cool the market, but the imbalance won't correct quickly. There was so much demand in 2021, coupled with the lack of inventory, that prices kept taking off. Buyers were often willing to pay over asking price, giving sellers pretty much anything they wanted. Sellers had much of the leverage and were taking offers with little or no contingencies, with the terms of the contract mostly in the seller's favor. In my opinion, based on the data, 2022 is going to be more of the same. So here's a quick recap and my recommendations if you're thinking of buying and or selling. The economy looks good overall. Buyers want to buy, and they often will do what it takes to win a bidding war. Many buyers are coming into the Northeast Tennessee and Southwest Virginia areas from out of state, and our prices look very attractive to them. Mortgage rates are still low and should remain low relative to historical rates, and the market is increasingly attractive to sellers. Sales will stay competitive, solid, and strong in 2022, and home prices will keep rising. The bad news and what is dampening the housing market is that we still aren't building enough homes. There are more buyers than there are homes. The new homes that are being built are priced higher thanks to increasing material and labor costs. If you're a homeowner and struggling with the question, should I sell now or wait for the market to peak? Here's my advice. If you're selling your home and buying another, it probably makes sense to go ahead and sell now. You have to buy a home at a higher price, but you also get more money from your house when it sells. When the market finally does turn, you get to buy your home for less, yours will be worth less. It's usually a wash. So don't try to time the market and wait. It likely won't make much difference overall to your net. Plus, no one knows what the future holds. Decide to sell and buy based on your personal life needs at this time. It's a tough time to buy, but an easy time to sell. Well, guess what? In the buyer's market, it's easy to buy, tough to sell. It all evens out in the end. I've talked to several buyers and sellers over the past couple of years that wanted to wait a few months until the market slowed down and prices started to fall. Well, it hasn't happened since then, and it's unlikely to happen in 2022. I hope this was helpful. If you're looking for more real estate market updates as well as helpful videos on buying or selling, be sure to head over to our YouTube channel. This is Scott Henniger with the Home Team. We're exceeding expectations, whether it's your first home or your last.